Welcome back to the grind. This is another Atlas update video after they released another update on the forums on February 20th with a little bit more information about what changes are coming and when and what changes are still in the works. If you haven't seen the other Atlas changed video that I made, you can go check it out. I'll put the link in the description. It goes into more detail on all the ideas that they were discussing and changes that will be coming. And so if you didn't get enough information from the changes that I discuss in this video, go check out that other video for more information on that. So they have released another update, February 19th, the draft number 5, to give us a little bit more update on where they're at with this process. So they have been taking feedback and altering their plans a little bit. So they are still doing a wave 1 and then the delayed wave release of stuff. So the first wave, they've kind of made a couple changes. The Defender Revive change, instead of going up to a maximum of 110% revives, essentially getting more troops back, which kind of would have been cool. Now they're going to 100%, which makes more sense to me, even though it would have been nice to have the potential of getting extra troops when you get attacked, like essentially stealing them from the opponent. Anyways, so 100% will be the max for that. And then they have added in increased max troops you can build and revive in one slot from 8,000 to 12,000. And this is supposed to be live now in the game. So when you were reviving troops, you could only revive up to 8,000 at a time in a single slot. Now you can revive 12,000 in a single slot. And of course, it'll cost more resources in order to do that, but you can do more in one time. And the other thing that they are doing with Wave 1 is the Team Glory scaling, which we talked about in the previous video, but the change that they are making is instead of having it based on the whole 5 TA, it will only be based on your team, which this is a great fix, I think. To me, this makes more sense. It doesn't put as much pressure on you changing your team alliances. So now your team rank and the glory that you get from attacking other teams is only based on your team. And remember, that is based on the highest den level that the players can have. It's an average, well, not necessarily an average, actually. It's based on the highest den level of all the players, but the highest player on the team will be weighted twice as heavily, I think is what they said, twice, than the lowest player on the team. So it does shift a little bit, but that is how it will be based, rather than having it based on the strongest team in the 5-team alliance, which made less sense to me. And if you didn't see my previous video, I will put the link in the description. There is a lot of information that we covered in that video that will not be fully covered in this video. So if you're interested in more details and haven't seen my previous Atlas update, then go check that out for some more information. Another adjustment that they made to the Wave 1 is to conquer, your Primarch needs to have more troops than the 5-team alliance that has the most troops at that castle. So they have an example. We'll go look at the example down there and get in more detail. So they said right here, Wave 1 changes should now be considered a final draft. So don't expect any of these Wave 1 details to change anymore, is basically what they're saying. Now, it doesn't mean they will not change. It just means that they're trying to say this is what we're pretty sure we're doing, and we're not planning on changing it, so you better start to get used to it, basically. Wave 2, that's the stuff that will be coming with the new season, and that stuff is up in the air. They said straight up. Very much up in the air. So they're still working on it, discussing it, and deciding what they really want to implement and what they don't want to implement. Now, they said here, they cut the season land reset and the perimeter travel and the new ownership limit. So if I'm reading that correctly, and I can't think of any other way to read it, but it sounds like they scratched that idea completely. They're no longer going to do the full season land reset. They're no longer changing the perimeter travel. So now all the safe zone castles will remain safe zone castles, and you can still have a high limit of towers. They're not reducing the number of towers that you can own. They are going to consider some versions of those ideas for the future, but they are going to discuss it more and see where things go after they implement the shrines. And we're still waiting for more details on shrines and what this is really going to look like, but it's a start. It's a good start. Other ideas, I don't know what these other ideas are, but there are other ideas being discussed for different ways to increase the liveliness of Atlas and make it a little bit more entertaining, interactive, and fun. So as we talked about a little bit in the previous video, we're going to go through this a little bit more quickly, but the current season, as soon as possible, they're releasing these changes, wave 1. So the changes to conquering, when you conquer a castle, there will now not be any reduction in the infrastructure levels. So that's great. The conquer mechanics, now in order to conquer a castle, you must meet the following criteria. You must have 0 guards present at that castle you're trying to conquer, so you've destroyed all the guards. The defending owner has to have less than 5,000 troops present altogether, and then your Primarch has to have more troops than each of the other 5 TA troops present. So that means that if there are 3 other 5 TAs, and altogether one of the 5 TAs has 50,000, the other 5 TA has 10,000, and the other 5 TA has 200,000, then your Primarch has to have more than 200,000 troops, which is the number of troops that the largest enemy 5 TA has that is present at that castle. So it's not all the troops present at the castle, it's the largest number of troops one of the 5 team alliances has. So also it's not just one team, it's the whole 5 team alliance. And that will be one of the criteria to conquer the castle. The next is the glory player component. It's now going to be based on the highest den level you can have, or the highest tier of dragon you can have more accurately, which of course is in a way depending or determined by your level. So that will determine if you'll get full glory or not. So you will get less glory for attacking a player who can breed dragons at a lower tier than you can. And this is the same that they're doing for the team glory component, but instead of having it based on the whole 5 team alliance like they were going to, now it's just your team. And it'll be a 30% glory reduction for every 20 ranks higher your team is versus the other opponent. And I went past this one a little bit here, the taunter issue. If you didn't see my last video, now the player level or the tier dragons is not going to matter for your glory when you attack a taunter. So if they have a level 50, you can attack with an abyssal dragon and you'll still get 100% glory. That is my understanding of this. Actually, this is a big one too, better defense. So they're increasing the glory that you get for successful defenses, which I think is a very important addition to this, because right now defending is terrible glory. So if the defender wins, they take at least 10% of the glory the attacker would have won, and up to 50% of the attacker's glory if they stop them at 0%. So I don't know what all the math is going to work out for this one, but in my mind, it sounds like that's actually a pretty good amount of glory. So if they attack you with 4,000 troops and they could potentially get 6,000 glory, then if you stop them at 0%, you can get greater than 3,000 glory from that and lose minimal amount of troops. So you're only going to lose a few hundred troops and still get thousands of glory, which that would be awesome. Now I know that doesn't always happen. It's not a common situation, but I do think it is important to reward that. And then they're talking about bonus revives for weaker defenders, which actually they say is live already. So if somebody in a higher bracket attacks you, so they're hitting down, then you'll get better revives for that up to 100%, which is also a great benefit because the higher tiers could just wipe you out, and that was really frustrating. And then we go into the wave 2 changes, the shrines that they're talking about doing. Now, they're goal is to make Atlas less stagnant. So when minor events are running in the core game, a cloud is lifted off a new island on the Atlas map. The island is visible to all Atlas players, but the population of the island is sharded. I don't really know what that means. Each shard in the background of each shard is the battleground for teams that have been can't see that there, matched together for the duration of that week. The island is populated with a collection of shrines that are claimed and defended similarly to castles. When the island is active, teams on each shard compete to control the shrines. Holding a shrine garners victory points for the team. At the end of the event, the team receives rewards depending on where they ranked among the teams on their shard. So they'll be sharing more information, but this is kind of like a mini PvP event, and but in Atlas, so you'll be using troops, I imagine, and hopefully earning good glory from this as well. So that is the update I have for you today. I will do my best to keep you updated as I see more information on the forums. If you would like to, you can keep an eye on the forums as well. And when more information comes out, I'll definitely make videos as soon as I can so that we can all have all the information that we need to do as good as we can. So I will see you in the next video.